Excellent. Good evening, everyone. We are today, February 15, at the Community Board 8 in the Bronx Environment and Sanitation Committee. We have a couple of people present in person in the Community Board office and a couple of people on Zoom. And we will try our best to keep this meeting brief for a variety of reasons, but we still want to do some business, which I'm sure we'll get to. Let me do a quick roll call strictly of committee members for the record, and then we will go through kind of the overall process and announcements and proceed with the agenda. Committee members are myself, Camelia Tepelis, present. I have Deb Travis here in the office.
Present.
And Rashida Hillier over on Zoom.
I am present.
Thank you. We also acknowledge the presence on Zoom. She left. Okay. There was a community member, but if not, it's just us. So I don't need to necessarily state any of the rules because we all know. I will just go very quickly and directly into my chair report, which I will keep very brief. And then we can actually straight move to my main topic, which will be budget. So, as you may remember, our last meeting was actually on a irregular date, to put it that way, on an early date, January 3rd. Because we were pressed with the information we had at that time to submit inputs to that big federal study on protecting the Manhattan Harbor, which we did. Having said that, we focused strictly on that at the time, but there were a couple of important things that happened both prior and after, and now this is our next meeting, and it just happened that it's after the full board meeting, so I just want to catch up with reminding everyone the important things that happened, and then we move forward. So essentially, an important meeting that happened was a Tibet's advisory group meeting organized by DP that was on December 14. Personally, I was not able to attend, but I watched it afterwards. It's posted on their website, including the link to YouTube, which I did watch. Hold on, let me admit a person here. Okay, good. So, and I will post the link to that with the minutes. And on January 18, the mayor of New York City made a big announcement in that the city approved the purchase of the CSX property. A matter that was pending for years and years and was preventing the project from taking off, and now the city owns property, so we're good to go. On January 13, I received a very interesting. I received a message from DP that there was a water main on Irwin between West 236th Street and West 238th Street. It looks like they were on top of it. On January 31st, there was the meeting of the multi-community board meeting of Community Board 7, 8, and 12 groups that deal with ENS groups, ENS committees that deal with the monitoring committee of the Croton water treatment plant. The agenda was quite interesting. I also was not able to attend this, but the link is on YouTube, and it's actually quite interesting. They discussed several projects that were pending, including a major one that I want to flag. There was a proposal of making a bridge over the Digan, which was actually scraped due to lack of funding, or should I say, the budget increasing substantially from the initial estimate. So now they are looking at an alternative. I think we will need a separate discussion on this. Okay, hold on, let me admit another person here. Yeah, to see how we feel about that. The agencies that are within our jurisdiction gave answers to our budget proposals for fiscal year 24. It's a mixed bag as usual, and we will look into details of this when we get to that point in the agenda. And we are now in the process of preparing our proposals for fiscal year 25. Mind you, fiscal year 25 is actually starting on July 1st, 2024, so next calendar year, up until June 30, 2025. All the time when you hear from city fiscal whatever number, it actually means that on the calendar, it started the year prior in July, and it gets until June 30 of the year, whatever year they say, because it goes by the fiscal year of the city of New York. I received a very interesting forward from Bob Fanuzzi, NY University. Oh, we have another person. Oh, David, awesome. Okay, hello, David. We have that. Right. DP wants to launch a couple of focus groups of local residents that would be interested in providing input on the locations where they could install flooding sensors. They have a network of sensors called FloodNet. The information is available on the DP website, and it will be a 1 hour on a monthly basis, and they provide a very nice gift card of $25 to every person attending every 1 hour. I will follow up on this and suggest to Bob Fanuzzi to ask them for actually like a flyer or something so that we could advertise this in the community, because maybe people actually will be interesting. And I'm thinking about particularly the area on Broadway and Kingsbridge and all the areas impacted by flooding, that actually they would want to have these sensors installed in the locations that are sensitive. I think this is all as far. February 24. Deb already announced it at the board meeting yesterday, and I think we announced it in advance too, and it was posted on the website. The largest, most comprehensive environmental event of Bronx environmental groups is the Speak Up. It will take place again in person at Lehman College on February 24, and the community board, we're welcoming David, community board members and a bunch of experts. I'm so grateful you are here because this will be our main topic. We are in a group, but this is done. As far as we can take. And so this concludes my report. Again, I'm reasserting we take great pride in posting all the links to all the presentation events, etc., that we are using in our meetings and on the website. And the staff does Pablo, which is my liaison, does an excellent job in being very prompt with all of this. So any sort of resources you will definitely find there. This concludes my chair report. Is there any immediate question either from members of the committee or from public or from anyone?
I think for the FloodNet, it might behoove us to reach out to like 2727 K-Pop, or there's a couple buildings on Broadway. There's some buildings on Independence who specifically have come to ENS meetings. About
that's a great point. Debbie, you happen to know the addresses? Or like send me an email so that I have them so that I.
Yeah, they should be in the minutes for September of not September 22, September 21 when we did the Deegan flooding event. Yes. There was a TNT joint. There were several people who came forward and said it was a general flooding meeting, and so there should
those addresses maybe we should just great. Okay, cool. And I want to follow up with Bob Fanuzzi because this was early January, but then I would have expected to hear back from them because they wanted to start February, but I feel like they probably postponed because we didn't hear from them so far. So we will follow up on that.
Certainly Kingsbridge, there's got to be some
absolutely
some businesses there.
So good.
Can I ask, what is a flood net?
You missed the
yes.
It's a DP new
device.
Not device, a new network of sensors. It's a new project. So they will install a network of sensors in different locations. So they are seeking out input, including from community boards, and Bob Fanuzzi forwarded me the request. They apparently hired NYU, some postdoc researchers there to collect potential sites, and the researchers came to us saying, hey, tell this to raise it. I think it's very nice.
No, it's a good idea. 27 is a good idea.
Specific people. What I don't know if you got this, what I was saying is they will pay, so it will be a 1 hour a month for like 6 or 7 months, and focus group with a bunch of residents, and they will pay each resident an Amazon card or whatever card, $25 for that 1 hour. So it's kind of nice. I suggest it
For them, for the.
For the-
residents to come talk about their experience. Okay.
So I suggest them to make a flyer so that we can post it, then it's posted, and people know we who to reach.
I think this is part of they did a report shortly after the whole Deegan flooding, like several months later, and installing individual sensors was part of the outcomes from that.
No, that makes good
It's
sense.
already put it on the DP with the full description.
My only reservation is who from 27, because a couple of those people would come and cross the list.
I want to say it's not. Yeah, guys,
So that's fine.
I don't want to get stuck on flatness because it's.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. This was the chair report, but we didn't do approval of minutes because we were still waiting for a quorum, which we do have. Again, the previous meeting took place January 3rd. The meetings were circulated January 10th, and they are currently posted on the website. And kindly, one of my committee members make a motion for the approval of the minutes.
I so moved. I moved to.
Then make a motion. I need a second.
I second.
Thank you, Rashida. Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? All right, minutes are being approved, and thank you both. We were supposed at this point to have a presentation from Olivia Georgia, from City as a Living Laboratory. This is an organization doing kind of environmental advocacy / art projects. They have been doing a good number of things around Tibet, but she was, I think, overcommitting. So anyway, she just a couple of hours ago sent me an email saying she cannot make it tonight, apologizing to be rescheduled in the future. The other things that I have would have been follow-up conversations on items that were open from previous meetings, particularly the last two when we focused on the New York, New Jersey HATS project. And they were, I don't think I want to go into the large conversation now because we don't have Karen, we don't have Bob and Bob, but I just want to sort of acknowledge the items. We have a follow-up conversation due to take place on the JPR, the Jerome Park Reservoir project, and the big issue of community access to it. This will come up again from my point of view as chair. I will strongly push it to now become an item in the budget conversation. Let's get to it, but I just want to mention this was something that came up strongly. If you remember, I also in the January full board meeting when Senator Rivera and Senator Jackson were there, whose district both touch the area, I specifically mentioned it. There's full support across all the elected. It's just a matter of us, I feel, pushing the right buttons, because of course we work with DP, but as you may remember in their last presentation, they had a fairly reserved position. But my personal view is that we could go in a lateral way, but let me not get ahead of me and we'll get there. So JPR, and then a couple of points around the actual water management of the site itself. It was a master plan requirement that Karen raised. It was a water level covering Short Creek item that Bo Fanuzzi raised. It was another item that Karen raised, community construction advisories. They could do a much better job for sure in reaching out and telling the people, but I also want to acknowledge the good work that they did in terms of removing the weeds, coming back to us and doing the whole presentation and kind of just bring up, here's Bo Fanuzzi.
Oh, see, okay. I've never seen that part of the.
Yeah, I know, me too. Took me a little while to manage how, I now have two things, I tell you. Hello, Bob. Good evening. Hi, well, you're muted, but we welcome you. We are kind of somewhere in the second to third point of the agenda. We approved minutes as far as business. We reviewed chairperson's report, and Olivia Georgia from Cal is canceled in the last minute this evening. So we are somewhere towards budget priorities, but not quite there. And I was just reviewing the sort of open pending items that we had from previous meetings when we were laser focused on the New Jersey HATS project. So I mentioned so far the JPR follow-ups, master plan, water level covering Short Creek, community construction advisories. The other project I want to make separately from this, the other project I want to mention is what I said in the beginning regarding the meeting that took place with the DP TAG group, TBET's advisory group on December 14. I actually reached out to Pinar, to the deputy commissioner, I think, and asked her because the presentation was not on their website and she was kind enough to acknowledge and actually add it. So I will actually add a link in my minutes to that presentation too. I thought I feel like, Bob, I don't want to kind of undercut Karen. So I said before, like, I don't want to go into a deeper discussion in this while you are not here and Karen is not here. So I feel like I don't want to go deeper into this, but we could discuss the next meeting because I kind of want to focus now on budget here. We are expected to have David in person with us, so we should use his presence here the best we can. But if you do have any immediate thoughts or input on the JPR and on TAG, any feelings from the meeting and everything, I know you participated because I saw the YouTube. Please share.
On the so you're talking about the JPR meeting that was the
not the Croton, but you can
the Croton filtration plant, the three committee boards. Okay.
Yes, that too. If you want on that and thoughts on TAG, because I saw you participating on both.
On the TIPIS advisory, yeah.
Yes.
Well, everybody, I'm just hi. And do we have a quorum? Yeah, we do.
We do.
I see Deb over there. Great. Hey, Deb. So the December meeting of TAG, I just wanted to turn back to that. Was the community board informed of that meeting?
I was so upset that the community was not informed, Bob. And also, I realized that, I would have been the first one to book this and cancel everything else in
March. Of course. Yeah.
You know? But no, and honestly, I look back where when I provided my email to their email list, it was my older email, so maybe they sent something and I missed it there, so they didn't have my CB8 email. Let's say that's the excuse, but I think Laura would have jumped on this, and we didn't receive any notification. So if you didn't get notification,
that was some kind of oversight. Something happened there, and I think that's the first call we make here is that something happened on December 14th. I only found out because a colleague from an outside organization shared with me, and we were able to join literally at the last minute, I'm telling you. But ordinarily last year, we were always included in the, and I made sure of that. So definitely worth an email to Tara about what happened and to share the recording of that. That would be helpful because they're all recorded, of course. It's on the website, but that is not the same as
absolutely as sending us a notification to begin with.
So that getting our own invitation is definitely essential. And I couldn't find it either. Like I said, it was only from someone else that I got it.
I'm glad you told me this because I was like, somehow was I missed, but no.
No. I was in the same boat as you. So now let's get to the other the Croton filtration plant meeting, which definitely involves DEP because DEP has put a filtration plant in the park. Okay, so Deb's committee is really taking the lead on this. And Deb, I would say you're going to have your own presentation on the Croton filtration plant follow-ups at your meeting. But all I'll say when it comes, because we cover DEP issues, so I would just say that I brought up the matter of water coming up from the groundwater underneath the filtration plant that's displaced by the operation of the plant, and also like kind of spillage and leakage plant within the filtration plant itself that somehow comes to the surface and becomes, you might say, surface level wetlands on the border of the filtration plant. Okay, and that's caused by the high water table of that area, which the community wanted to bring to try to use as a reason not to put the filtration plant there. So there is water coming up. DEP is turning it into, I'm sure, going to be lovely artificial wetlands around the perimeter of the park. And my concern was that DEP manage that because it's part of plant operation. I consider that part of plant operation, and I wasn't just sure how that excess water would be handled. Then Deb, I think there was the matter of the sewer line also.
Yeah, sewer line to the temporary to Moxley golf house, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
That into the pumper station.
okay, and
The bridge.
then finally the bridge. So this really didn't hit the Camila, you were at the filtration plant meeting. Okay, all right. So this goes way back to when I was in the filtration plant committee. I was chair, and I really was intent on getting that bridge funding. It was part of a planned restoration to Bronx and to parks for taking away the Van Cortlandt Park to build the filtration plant. So that was a big priority. But roughly about 3 or 4 years ago, the Parks Department, sorry, came forward with a new plan to change the route. And at that point, I withdrew my own support from it at the community board level. I didn't vote for it. David, is that you, David?
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing? Hi. That was the only time I've ever had a contrary vote with Bob Bender. We had this great debate, and I actually voted against it because I thought it took away too many trees, the new route, and it also didn't track the aqueduct trail, which was my purpose for promoting it when I was at Croton. So we found out that the new plan for the parks is to use 233rd Street and build a new pathway access route onto the car overpass and go over the bridge. So this is not the pedestrian bridge that the parks was promised. Okay, so I think what we want to do is make sure, I think there's a parks issue now, to make sure that that money gets spent on Bronx parks. And in the district that's impacted by, the 3 districts that are impacted by Croton, because it's Van Cortlandt Park is a shared area. So that's something I think that Deb, I'm sure you'll take up about what happens to that savings. But I kind of like the new plan. We didn't take a vote on it that night. It was just a presentation. But I personally like the new plan because I didn't like the substitute plan, too many trees down. And I think it does point north. There's definite parks access issues, but that was the big news from there. They're not building the revised pedestrian bridge over. So not really E&S business, but that was news.
Well, I do think it's E&S business in that there's a desire to keep the money in Van Cortlandt Park. That was one of the requests at the FFC meeting, was to get in writing that the money would stay in Van Cortlandt Park. And that the majority of it is for parks projects and such, but there is about 6 million that is DEP money. And
that's right. Yeah. What happens? Thank you, Dave.
And so, I mean, I think that DEP money should certainly stay in Van Cortlandt Park, but there are certainly DEP projects, like the lake, the wetlands that DEP could lend its resources to potentially to help restore. And that seems like that money is a lot of money, could go a long ways. I wanted to get your thoughts on that as having more experience with the lake than I do. I know that goes, the lake restoration and protection goes back a long way.
Yeah. So there are living shorelines as part of the daylighting project, but let's put our brain on that. And Camelia, why don't we put that on the agenda, what to do with the remaining 6 million?
Yeah,
Thank you, Ben.
I just want to add for the people who were not there, just to make it like a very simple visual. So if you can imagine, so they wanted to like a bridge across the Deegan, like an H, right? Like the middle line in an H. So the cost of that prior to COVID was anticipated
40 million, right?
20-something million, but after COVID, 40-something million. So they say, forget about it. But
Yeah.
now what we do is not do an H, but do like an N, right? So instead of doing this short thing, they will do like a long using
I
our.
love your Sesame Street. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Give me a second, David.
Sure.
Yes. So because that took like a more supportive stance, I just for the purpose of information to all others, I will take a slightly less supportive stance because it was something that Watson and Christina from the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance said. I mean, the whole idea with the pedestrian bridge was to help people from the east side cross over into the west side because the most interesting amenities for the public in Van Cortlandt tend to be on the southern side, right? So like the swimming pool, the athletic fields, the lake,
Of course.
blah, blah, blah. So it kind of was easy, right? But then if you now direct them north to the angle of the end, it kind of like aims towards north, right? So you have to walk back. And I think it was somebody, I don't remember if Christina or maybe Laura, or maybe Karen, that said, okay, you can make them cross like that, but maybe you can kind of restore a path that is still in the park, but go south instead of kind of creating this sort of implication of go north, right? I mean, again, I just share this for the purpose of conversation. I do believe we need to follow up, like you said, both with parks and likely even with DOT. A point that, I mean, maybe it was them, but I don't remember for sure, made was how unsafe those crossings that they are planning to use existing points, right? The new infrastructure, how unsafe they are for crossing. And DEP even acknowledged that during the meeting itself. So I think, I mean, for sure we will hear further from this. Maybe at some point you want to do like a point of view of the committee of ENS itself on the matter, but I think we are still to hear further from them with more information. And for us, for sure, pending further discussion. David, kind of.
Yeah, I just want to say, actually, what it was, fortunately, we have a map right here. I think the gas stations are about here. And I think that the big pedestrian bridge was supposed to be up here in the northern areas.
The pedestrian bridge was going to be south of 233. It was going to be a race for chain link.
Okay, well, the current plan is to take this existing clover leaf for the cars, which has a macadam blacktop walkway, and improve that walkway, basically, and then find some way in some way find a way across into the main there.
Extending the trail.
Yeah, which is rather simplistic and least invasive at this point. I mean, paving is not a good thing, but it's already paved. Well, one thing I wanted to bring up, something that's intrigued me, and Bob, you may be aware of this kind of thing. Have you ever gone up to the weir at Croton-on-Hudson?
I've taken the aqueduct north. I've done the whole aqueduct trail. No, I haven't reached that, David. I don't.
There's like a museum-like place at the weir in Croton that you can go into, and you can walk into the aqueduct. And it's a little pie in the sky, but this is actually something I talked with Ars Rodriguez Rosa 3 years ago about. The concept of making the crossover through the aqueduct, which is completely abandoned, and spending $2, $3, $4 million improving that security, lighting, gates, etc. I just think that would be a cool idea that we could pursue. But if nobody wants to pursue it, that's fine too, because this will work. It's just that the idea of using the abandoned aqueduct going underneath the Deegan, I think, would be beautiful, historic, etc. That's all.
Is that what you brought that up at the meeting, right?
That was a different tunnel, I think.
Yeah. Up here, there's actually an underpass. It's actually quite wide and about 10 feet tall, and it's like two drivable pathways. Yeah, it's up here. And that would be really simple, really cheap to do, and it would provide much more northern access. And it already exists. I mean, it's a concrete structure that supports the Deegan. I don't think it's as pretty as the aqueduct, but those are two existing ways that probably would be nicer, although actually, we could probably do both. We could,
David,
this thing, huh?
on a very simple note, is there any signage at the aqueduct tunnel you're talking about?
No. Oh, no, it's only on Van Cortlandt Park maps. The tunnel, though I was talking about in Croton, yes, there is.
There is, yeah.
I think it'd be fascinating to go up there some weekend and take a look at it. You'll be amazed. I can show you pictures of
We'd like to see that.
in the aqueduct. It's really cool.
Yeah.
The whole brick structure and all that. But
It's the same underpass that you mentioned, David, but they were mentioning actually, Robert, because I was watching on YouTube and I was laughing in my head because the two ladies said, oh, we went there, but frankly, we kind of didn't have the courage to go through because it felt, I don't know the condition of it, but the way they were mentioning it, it was like kind of not.
it's only about 40 yards long, and you can easily see the other side. It's basically two tunnels that are about 2 car widths wide. So I'm sorry.
Take some pictures next
I
time.
think I might have. I'll try to send them to you. If not, if nothing else, you folks on the weekend could drive up there. It's right when you take the Jerome Avenue extension and you see that there's sort of a railing on your right where there's normally park. It's right there.
Right.
Park there, and just walk down. Just to check it out.
Yeah.
But the other idea of the aqueduct, that's completely sealed. But the one in Croton is open, and I think it's gorgeous. And I think it'd be really cool and a lot cheaper than $30 million to
40.
do.
The quick
Oh,
one.
it was 30.
I was like, 1 to 40.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to, yeah.
Okay.
So the Croton though doesn't go under the Deegan, correct? It
Yeah, it
the Croton runs west of the Deegan all the way.
No, it actually goes like this.
No, because it comes out of Dickinson. Croton is under Dickinson, that's why we couldn't pave it.
All right, I'll have to find the map.
Okay,
It's shown on the park map.
I'm wrapping that
Yep,
up to be continued,
Yep.
but it's great that it's so much interest from everybody and we're gonna have from David in, I think, something that's for the budget. Who knows?
So I'm just here to help.
If nothing else, I'm moving straight into my budget priorities conversation. Mind you, I am a first year here as chair, and I thank Bob Fanuzzi for his direction and for sending me the documents. And I will share exactly what I did and how far my understanding got, so that we make a little plan on how to go about this and get it done in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of pain. So to begin with, I will share my screen from this side and I will show you what I have and what my understanding is. And then I will ask Robert to guide me as to my proposal as far as how to proceed. So, okay. Do you guys see this Word document? Hold on, let me make it bigger. Let me try this thing elsewhere. Okay, do you guys see this table?
Yeah.
Dear Zoom people, yes, thank you, Rashida. Okay, good. So this is the document that Bob Fanuzzi sent me as having been submitted last year as fiscal 24 expense budget requests. And you see them all here, followed by another page.
For
Please be there, another page. No, I was not. Oh, okay, this was capital, sorry, I'm now at the top of so this was capital, 1 page, 1 to 7, and this was expenses, another page, 1 to 9, correct, okay, good. So my understanding is that this was submitted, we received some feedback from agencies, which I will also present very quickly. And Laura asked us to give us feedback, which was a little bit overwhelming since she asked us with like 3 days in advance, but I submitted something generic to the effect of you know, we thank you if you were able to accommodate our request, but if you didn't, we are maintaining our requests for the future as active requests, something to that effect. So this is what we submitted last year, and I guess we will start our conversation on fiscal 25, kind of starting from this. Now, I just want to quickly show the other document. I'm opening now on big Excel thing. Do you guys see this Excel? Rashida?
You have to stop sharing and share a new screen.
Oh,
We still have
okay,
the,
go share and then go share
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
I
yeah,
you
understand.
have to start from scratch.
Yes, I understand.
there's money
Share
too.
screen. Okay, there we go. Of course. Yeah. All right. So this is the abridged version or something like that, Laura called it.
Yeah, I condensed all the columns
Okay, yeah.
as tight as possible.
So what I did, what they are not, how to say, maybe in the conversation, some things joined others or some committees kind of came together or whatever. But I highlighted in gray essentially what came from the Word document and appears reflected into this document. Overall, I would say some things were, so I know I'm scrolling back and forth. I'm so sorry. I will just go quickly, but just to review a little bit.
Marty.
Yeah. I will not, yeah, I will not.
This
Yeah.
is for the whole,
Deny or
this is
accept.
for the whole board.
Yeah.
Yes, but only our things, by our, I mean ENS things are highlighted in gray. So, but overall, I would say some things they said kind of okayish, but we don't have the money. Some things already happened by mayoral initiatives, such as composting, for example, that he extended like by himself. Some other things they say we don't know what you're talking about, kind of we don't understand, and I kind of understand why they don't understand. And some other things are somewhere in between, right? So I want to close this Excel sheet, which is a little bit too overwhelming. I just want to highlight one that is my favorite because I'm chair and I get to have partisan position. No, I'm kidding. Just wanted to share this one. Because for me, it was kind of something to highlight to you all as a potential collaboration with the education committee, because it's not something that we like maybe explored enough. I don't know. So this was their request for PS 310 Marble Hill Complex Bronx Outdoor Green Space to advance their sustainability and STEAM initiative. I think this is super nice. But probably DOE, like they said to a lot of education committee requests, they are now unable to prioritize funding for this project request at this time. Probably because they cannot give projects as in, I don't know, for each school that every community board has, like probably they have their own internal agency system. I don't know, this is just my best guess. But just I wanted to point it out again, because like sustainability projects, it's kids playing, planting, you know what I mean? So it's something very doable, very hands-on. And I would like to see more environmental initiatives for young people and children and youth. And I don't know if it can play a role. I would like to support this that education committee asks sort of to this effect, right? So anyway, that's the only one I wanted to hide, but then we will go. But what I will do now is close this beauty and open, yes, I see both. Both just
Go back.
Okay.
And I think that you have hit upon a winner of a joint meeting with education. And a lot of what's being asked here for improvements on campus for sustainability projects are a lot of times principal initiatives, right? And or they get grants or they get DOE. But I think that's a fantastic agenda topic to share, to invite, and linking up with Sylvia would be great for ENS to have educators who are doing sustainability projects on their site, and that would be private and public. If there's anyone from Horace Mann, I don't know who that would be, but if anyone has contacts with Horace Mann who may do that. But feel the privates, the independents, the Catholics, that I think that's a great thing. Community, I just want to say, don't leave that idea behind. Go back to it as a committee agenda to invite people to share.
Yeah.
Great idea. Good idea.
Thank you, Robert. And even if it's just as simple, sorry, even if it's just as simple as adding our name as ENS, supporting this, I think it's meaningful, you know? Yeah, sorry, David.
No, no problem. It sounds like a great idea, but my guess is that, and Bob, you would know this better than I would, but I would imagine that DSNY or DEP can't build something on a school ground.
No, it's like you're saying, it either comes from, the state has funding for environmental projects.
But it's not
K-12
about,
is, yeah, it's not something that our committee would be able to support in budget terms.
it's about fundraising, it's just not about building. It's really, they have a tiny plot and they play with it. Plant whatever seeds, whatever bulbs. Like I did with my kid Sally in Morris Heights, he goes to a school, bulb, daffodil bulb last winter, and they planted it, but there is like it's a whole thing. So, and by the way, this foundation, they would
Yeah,
get engaged in this.
That's interesting.
So
That is
if
terrible Wi-Fi.
we put on
so
this
shocked.
ENS supports young people's environmental education. I see your hand, Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, so if any school was, I know DEP does fund the green roofs, and I know a lot of schools use green roofs, so, and I do know, I think that Ampark was, involved with some sustainability projects. But, just budget is one thing, but support advocacy and connecting people with funds is a great idea for a meeting. And I would definitely love to do that.
Great, thank you. Saying this, I will close down this overwhelming table. Maybe for next time, if we want to keep it in Excel sheet, I will basically clean everything that is not gray, meaning hours. And but right now I will close it and go back to the Word document.
One second.
Okay, I close it.
No, don't close it. Just for a second. Go all the way to the left margin, the 38, the 39, and the 40.
1 second. Okay, I'm there.
Go all the way to the left margin.
Yeah.
Where it says 38, 39, 40, one of those. Right click on it.
On what?
On that
the-
38, yeah, right click on that.
No, this is just.
No, hang on.
Not collapse.
Hide. Click, no, not on 38. Go to 39. Go back to 39, right click.
Yeah.
Click on hide.
Oh, I can hide them,
You can
yes,
hide all the other ones you don't want without killing them.
without killing them, excellent.
Okay.
Okay, good. I am stop sharing now. And I am going back to share of the Word. Because maybe it's my great ambition, but let's see how we roll with it. I would like Bob, Fanuzi, and Rashida, and Deb, and of course everybody else, but primarily you as committee members, if we could go very quickly through all of these, because for example, Tibet, I mean, they responded, it's funded, take it out, let's take it out. So I could put notes here in real time on each line, one second, with just comments. And if we agree on the principle
I
on
would,
every one of these.
I would keep this because we have not seen any personnel attached to this project going forward.
Right, this is
Capital
on the
you can
building,
take out.
this is the maintenance of it for 2025.
And it's a perennial problem we have where we,
I'm straight. I was on the wrong page, moved up to
You
capital.
could take out the, it's not a capital project, but I'll be damned if I see the maintenance and the personnel and the, right, the expense
Yeah,
attached to
But
this
they-
project, so I say keep
no,
that.
yeah, I don't know how to do, I don't know how to
The
do. I wanna-
construction is funded, is the maintenance and
So
operation of it? No.
that was, but I cannot share in the same time two things.
View.
So
go up to view.
What do you want to look at?
I want to look at both the Excel sheet and the Word doc, because for example, on the Deegan, I would make in the Excel sheet a search on Deegan and I would see their response. So we discuss their response on each and every one.
All right,
But it's very ambitious.
that wouldn't be in view.
But I think also their response for all of them is either we don't have enough money or we don't understand your ask.
I honestly, no, I'm mean, how to
Right.
say, I would be a little more nuanced, respectful on that. On
Let's
some
keep
things.
on our list and
some
keep
things
going.
it is-
Which one are we working on?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
not play.
hold on. I know we can't do what I wanted to do, but let's just discuss verbally so that I have it in the means and I have your feelings sort of on each line. And then I will go back at home and copy under each line their feedback. So that next time we can finalize seeing again.
I'm
So let's have an initial conversation if that's okay.
I mean, I get that you're.
I want to respond to their responses.
You want to respond, you want to be specific,
Yeah.
but I will say as a person who's been a chair for a couple of years and
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people who are experienced chairs will tell you that it doesn't matter that much. You know,
Yeah, but
I don't want the camera to see me laughing.
so let's go.
the language is better to kind of make sure the language represents what
Yeah,
we
no.
asked this year, like when we're looking
Yeah,
forward
but
from
this
what
is
we
the-
learned.
yeah. So maintain this for now. You
I'm
see,
not sure
right?
what I'm being asked. Are we asked to respond to what the agency said? Or are we being asked to say
No,
yes or no to the continuation of this on next year's?
Yes,
ranking?
yes. Go to the continuation, or if you have any specific comments.
For fiscal 25,
Correct,
Yeah,
then I would change it to 25 on the top.
correct,
And then-
correct.
And save it as the FY 25 version.
that's good, that's good call out. And then save it,
You go to the
Yeah,
top and
save
save
as.
it.
do a save as while you're fresh.
See, people with experience advise good things.
Okay, good.
And I will actually
But
say.
can you answer my
That's
question? Are we moving ahead with 2025 or are we responding to 2024?
We are
agency
talking
comments?
25 right now.
Yeah, we're talking
Yeah,
25.
Yeah, we
Okay,
are
all right.
responding 24, stand by our ground.
In theory, 24, the letter was to be received today.
Yeah.
And it did not happen, but
Yeah.
that's a
That's okay, no.
different topic.
So then I would say with the, where it says fiscal year 23 ranking, maybe that's where we
That
put
is
our
correct.
fiscal year 25, and that way we can maintain our 24.
No, I know.
Actually, no.
It's 24,
Yes, correct. He's
the right
correct.
is 24, the left is 25.
Yes.
Right, but
I got
but
this,
these
I got
already.
this. So here,
the
I'm moving here, the corner to the
Move them
left,
over, okay.
I'm moving here to the, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying for the purpose of the meeting.
Okay, but for now, I keep it blank or maybe
Yeah,
we will look at it and then order and etc. But let's please go one by one quickly if you do not mind.
Mhm.
Do it this, design and build right of way green infrastructure stormwater management plan for the major Deegan in areas impacted by Hurricane Ida, including Bank Corner Village, King Heights, King Bridge, all steps leading to Bailey. Keep, reconstruct.
Keep,
Can I make a comment here?
Yeah.
It's going to happen in spite of us. Okay. They're gonna do it because of Ida, they're gonna do it anyhow. Don't waste your capital, so.
no, I don't know that. I
I
have
know
not.
it's important, and I know everybody agrees, but I would not make it, I recommend not making it a high priority because
Yeah.
why waste that vote? But that's for you guys to decide.
Yeah.
That's
But
just-
Bob, let's go through, because when David.
I don't
I
have
need to
any,
Robert.
Absolutely, please, you absolutely should.
I-
I'm all, like I said, I'm here to give you advice.
I
Keep
am
for now,
not,
yes. I'm sorry, Bob Fanozzi, I'm sorry, there's too many Bobs in this CB.
I'm not privy to any commitment, any announcement of any additional green infrastructure in this area. I have not been told anything besides daylighting as a response to Ida, which was not a response to Ida. So none of this has happened. There are no
Yeah.
commits, no announcement, no plans, no boards, no surveys, nothing. The agency has not acted on our request.
Yes.
I'm
Thank you.
I'm perfectly okay with it.
She doesn't stand up.
Along the same lines, I was just wondering if there's an actual rendition of what this is supposed to look like for those of us like myself who I can read, but then I would like to know what this actually looks like, so I know what is it that I'm.
In my understanding, it's an aspirational wish of this committee in CB8. Correct, Bob Fanozzi? Sort of?
No, we're supposed to
But like
work with agencies to assess community needs. Our job is to assess determine and prioritize community needs.
Yeah.
And the reason why this was number one was because we almost drowned in Hurricane Ida.
Yeah.
So throughout the entire year, we spent 2 committee meetings dealing with state and city officials about what they were going to do to help us after Hurricane Ida to prevent the kind of flooding that occurred in this area. We heard
Yeah.
from community members, so it's supposed to be based on community needs and our correspondence with agencies.
Yes.
So sometimes it's doing things that aren't there. Other times it really is about more garbage pickup based on what our neighbors are telling us, that kind of thing. So this goes into the budget for the community board, and we present our priorities as a whole to the agencies, and then that's a consideration for the budget that the city council eventually passes. So this is kind of the participatory budget part we're in right now.
Yeah, so what I will do again, just to restate the process, for the next meeting, what I will do is go into the Excel sheet, copy their response and add the details of this line so that we have fully the ask, the response, and then we reconsider it. But right now, I'm begging you, let's keep to 2 to 3 minutes for each line so that we kind of have a first review of everything, if you would be so kind. So I'm on keep. I offer the options keep, potentially reconsider, out. Sounds fair? Okay, nobody says no, so kind of fairish. Okay, ENSDP,
Silence is consent.
install right-of-way green infrastructure along Bailey Avenue and Broadway to alleviate flooding and pooling in Kingsbridge and Marble Hill. What did I say? Keep, potentially reconsider, out.
I keep for sure, I would add Bailey Avenue corridor and Broadway corridor to make it clear that it's not some sort of intersection that doesn't exist.
Along Bailey
Because
Avenue
Bailey Avenue and Broadway is like an
and
intersection.
Broadway.
Deb, don't you remember the Seinfeld episode when first intersected with itself?
Okay, something that will join with parks, TNT, reconstruct Van Cortlandt Park South Step Street from Van Cortlandt Park South to Gale Place, including integrating green infrastructure to capture stormwater and creating a pedestrian plaza at Bailey's Avenue entrance to Van Cortlandt Park. I remember the answer to this, it was like, this is kind of complex, we need more information.
Yeah. I think this is going to be taken up with daylighting and greenway construction.
Yeah.
So on the Parks Committee side, because the response that we got was that this was basically 2 things. And that DOT, during the budget comments always come from one agency, whoever the lead is, right?
Okay.
And so in this one, it came from DOT. The thing that was consistent with DOT's responses to the TNT committee was that all of the step streets were essentially like, this is not a priority. And so their response to this was, seems like 2 things and it's not a priority.
Okay,
So what our Parks Committee strategy was to actually just focus on the entrance to Bailey, at Bailey to Van Cortlandt Park, and to ask them to design an entrance with green infrastructure that allows for access to the park, which is really what our priority was, is it's very difficult to get to the park.
I hear.
So we've rephrased it, and I can send the revised language that we're using if you want to
Okay, I will
continue the joint.
Parks to send revised language.
Yeah, because we're meeting next week, so we'll finalize our language or whatever, and then we'll send it over.
Actually, one thing that's not clear to me reading this is green infrastructure merely sort of the basin at the bottom or all along the steps going down? Because
So once you remove the step street, you're really focusing on the entrance, then it becomes about the capturing of the water coming down the
at the
hill.
bottom,
Yeah.
Okay.
but nothing to process it or flow it along the steps.
Both families had signed up, both please.
It may not
Bob,
belong
you
to
have a
us
hand up?
anymore unless it's a DEP installation. So we may, once Parks takes this over and you're happy with it, Deb, it may live in Parks rather than ENS.
Yeah, I agree, actually. I would say potentially reconsider.
You talking about the lights or the
No, the previous,
entrance?
yeah, okay.
Yep.
I'm moving to lights, parks, public safety, ENS, TNT, a bunch of agencies. but it's Jerome Bar Reservoir pedestrian safety lighting, park style
This is
lighting.
not
now.
ENS. This is not ENS.
Yeah, that's another parks one.
Okay, so
what-
these are straight
so
cuts.
So what, with this one, also, I put some revised language together to make it clear that the lights are in Parks property, that they're Parks lights, and that they're the walkway in the park.
And they,
And so, you know, it's JPR, but I wanted to really emphasize that it's the park.
yeah, also they had a super interesting answer that went to how the lights are funded, and it was like a whole bunch of things. So if I were you, which I think the request is justified and good, I would kind of reward, but that's it.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Yeah, take out 5 also. That's stupid.
Yeah,
I don't know what
okay.
that's doing there. Take out 5.
Study of safe pedestrian and bicycle connection to Partner Greenway from Bailey Avenue.
Not
And
ENS. It should not be an ENS. don't know
I
what
agree.
happened there.
I would say cut because it's TNT leading.
Yep.
And it should actually
EMS,
be-
EMS for
Keep, yeah.
rehabilitation.
Yeah, let me clue you. So, what you want to do is just talk to Steve Caruso. I'll introduce you if you haven't already. Ask if this has been fully funded, because we are served by this particular depot. So we would want to know if they have the capital. If not, keep it. If they have it, we can take it out. If they don't have it, we can keep it.
Both, sorry if I'm not confusing this, but didn't we receive in like the September meeting,
Yeah.
some notification
Yeah,
that they were
they're
working
this
on
work.
the blah, blah, and potentially they will relocate elsewhere.
The reception is terrible, by the way. I can't even hear you. This is awful.
Really?
Yeah, Rashida, do you hear
can.
people? Because I have terrible.
It sounds maybe when you move, it sounds like you're underwater. I mean, I can't see if you're moving.
You guys are very clear.
Are
You guys are
is it coming through your headphones?
No, I stopped this.
No, on that side, there's no sound?
I think the microphone is in the camera.
We're not hearing Camellia.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Oh, I'm surprised.
I will stop share just for a second.
Go under.
Are you hearing us?
Go to
The
the
microphone. at the
volume
bottom.
down there. No, yeah, no, that's recording.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I,
I'm sorry.
this one?
No,
You
that's
want this
just.
one? No,
No,
that's
that's
Yeah, the
the-
one, you were the right one.
Yeah, you have that right. Cameras on.
Give us just 1 second.
There shouldn't be a volume for outbound.
I don't think so, but did you hear at the beginning? So I don't know why, you know, I mean, it was perfectly fine.
Well, I mean, one of the things I asked Kara to do is to find
Before.
a tabletop speakerphone.
Do you hear us? Do you hear us? Oh
Yeah,
my-
I can hear you. I mean, it's just that sometimes when you speak, and I don't know if you move or something, then it sounds like you're underwater.
I think it could be that sometimes the 3 of us speak together
Yeah,
in the same time. This is not the reception. Well, I will be more careful to not to speak over other people.
I would also note about that garage thing, didn't we get 2 confirmation,
It's fine.
That they're doing these 2 capital projects at 215th
Correct.
Street.
I'm going back to my share screen to complete business.
So David, if you could just get back to that, because thank you. I'd love to know. It was the garage issue, if you remember.
I will say here to confirm.
Because that's the
Yeah.
garage that they're putting the electric buses, that'd be a big electrification project.
Thank you for checking.
But potentially we could take this out, correct?
Correct.
Potentially, yes.
Okay, potentially, yes. Okay, ENS and parks, DP, DPR,
This is essential. This is essential. This is.
But
for
wasn't
this
it
project.
funded already, Bob? Rehabilitate shore for park edge?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they would be using.
To include,
e-
1 second, to include a living shoreline to capture runoff, promote clean water and increase shoreline resilience. Because I remember, so I think we even said in the Excel sheet that it's either funded or it's kind of in the
It-
10-year. We said something positive on this, but I can check also.
Yes,
I potentially keep basically, right? Is this Bob Panuzzi where you're?
Yeah, Camellia, that's a good point. If you
I'll
could
let you
just
know.
check in the agency response and determine if DEP has any role in this. If not, then it would go over to Parks.
Correct.
With total absolute support. But and I think it's worth a call to Jody. This is her
Yeah,
project.
because I remember, so I'm sorry, Bob. I remember her in the fall saying how happy she is and $3 million. I'm like, very happy. I'm not sure if it's not another shorefront.
Raise my hand. I can't get you guys.
That is speaking.
So there were two shorefront park budget priorities. I don't remember which one of them got funded and one of them Jody asked for us to keep on the list. So I can go back and look at which language got removed and which one she asked to keep.
Good. And then
I can.
Yeah, I circle the essence. ENS and parks, DP, daylight events, Brook, fund continual maintenance for operation. I'm sorry, yes, sorry. Yes. So, sorry, let me share. David said to ask my community members if they have any new ideas on capitals, because we are on the first table. I have one idea, but personally don't know if it's capital. I would be inclined to think it's capital versus expenses, which would be asking not even DEP or a joint DEP, DCP, Department of City Planning, dragging them into our picture on Jerome and asking them for a study, feasibility of public access around the Jerome Park Reservoir, joint request, DEP, DCP. I realize I'm breaking here into land use territory, but I'm comfortable with that.
Wow, good idea.
I mean, first of all, I believe this will be more than 30,000 or whatever the limit is.
35,000.
So I would like to put it out there. I will not write it right now. I will just share it verbally, obviously. But unless I hear stronger negativity, I would like to edit it. And I would like to pursue the conversation on DCP channels and kind of opening it up for a different approach or kind of sideways approach to that would add to what we did so far by strictly having the relationship with DEP.
Why would DCP have any
Because-
budgetary input into such as?
No, they would be the ones conducting, in fact, the study and lead agency on this.
Study.
Correct.
Study,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry,
yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
yes, yes. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. I see both hands your hand up.
I think the study, DCP would not do the study because I think they would just be seeing it as a zoning issue. And the person that may be the game changer, sideways, Camellia, is EDC. Because
Both. But I'm taking it. I'm sorry for interrupting. Yes, I'm taking it. Please go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm not sure that DCP, I just keep it out there as DEP, we can add on it later. But keep in mind that sometimes EDC is called upon to create new public access.
Yes, I agree with you.
Oh, okay.
To pursue.
And we would not, EDC does not have a budget that we respond to. That would be through an elected official. And we would have to do a little research to find out if they'd be interested at all. But I think just throwing up a flag to DEP about funding a feasibility study, what could be wrong with that?
I know, and I have a little plan
It's
of.
just rounding here, not
Yeah.
not the crossover.
No, for now, I see around.
Yeah, no, I know.
Interior.
Yeah, no, I know, because there is a crossover. I don't know when it was. Commission.
I don't know if you know a lot about this, but I received from Karen a report from, was it 2011? Sorry,
2012, I think it was, or
yeah,
2000.
11 or 12, when DEP was very negative to it, very negative. And frankly, upon reading it, I could see strong points. So I wouldn't even raise the cross. Like if they give you enough to begin with,
Yeah.
it's enough.
No, that's a good idea.
To be.
Wait. Okay, one thing for the capital, when we did our response to the Army Corps of Engineers, we talked about kind of a structure along the shorefront for more resilience. Do you remember this?
I don't
I don't remember what it was called.
Where are you getting?
For a capital, just an additional, a new capital. For a new capital thing that, you know, they, along the Henry Hudson, you know, they added a walkway and then they built underneath the walkway this kind of softer edge. So that it was a new shoreline on the Manhattan side. So it was a softer edge and it was their way of doing kind of flood mitigation and softening the edge. And then it also was provided a pathway for people to walk. And so when we were talking about the JHAP thing, that was one of the things that was in Karen's presentation, was a picture of this structure. I don't remember what it's called.
Potential idea too.
But I think that, you know,
board.
because we're often talking about how do we extend the greenway, connect to the greenway that's coming up the Harlem.
Can you make me a simple sentence?
I'll make you a simple sentence for now, and I'll make you
Yes.
something proper.
Yes.
But I would say softening the Harlem, the Harlem shoreline, the shoreline along the Harlem River.
But you want the Harlem?
Well,
It's the Harlem to get all the way past.
it's referred to as fundamental, but technically it's still Harlem River.
You guys find out.
Should I say, adjacent to Marble Hills 511?
Yeah. Sure.
This is interesting. I mean, we are brainstorming really.
That's the whole point.
Okay, great. Can I move to section? Oh, sorry, Robert Fanny, I see your hand up, and then David wants to say something too.
One addition that could be helpful there is that DEP has property along these rivers. They own the outfalls. And this is not just the outfall that we know that occurs at 190th. So this becomes a more targeted ask if we're able to determine the location of these outfalls. And then we could build the living shorelines adjacent to them, which would be part of their mitigation actually for the outfall itself.
Don't we want it to be continuous though, Bob?
Yeah, but I don't know how much DEP would, but I really think, let me think about it, Deb. Because I don't know if DEP builds living shorelines outside the outfalls. I know Parks, the Natural Resource Group does that along their property. But what we've
The
done,
thing they built for Manhattan, because it was DEP, I believe, that built it
Where?
Okay,
in Manhattan.
On the north.
Along the Hudson, they built a softened shoreline with a walkway, and it was all kind of this like structure to make the softened shoreline more resilient. So there's like this underpiece and then a walkway over, a metal walkway.
I have to
I'll send a picture.
I really want to move on unless we have more ideas. Oh, no, sorry, David.
One of Bob's favorite topics, bioswales. Do you want to do anything about encouraging bioswales?
We had that.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already got that. Yeah, thank you, David. Thank you.
So
We're
then,
in the expense probably, that's expenses, not.
and so then going back to the DEP money that we're talking about wanting to keep in Van Cortlandt Park as part of FMC,
Yes,
are there any projects in our capital list that would be appropriate? You know what I'm saying? Like, so when we talk about like Van Cortlandt Lake remediation or something, there's nothing in Van Cortlandt Park, correct? That's currently on our capital list?
Bob, you have your hand up, please go ahead.
I didn't, but let me, we should look at the daylighting. Camilla, put this for next time. We should look at what they're doing through daylighting in Van Cortlandt Park Lake. And they are.
How to say, Bob, just whatever you think, of course, I will add this, but I think that on the daylighting, they consider it fully funded. So
But I'm using that as a guide for what Deb is talking about, because if they are building something on a pilot scale,
I understand.
then we would be expanding and extending. That's what I want to say. Thank you, Deb. That's a great catch. Thank you.
Please tell me how to write it correctly.
So we would want to basically extend and improve DEP daylighting project within on Van Cortlandt Lake.
Between the Yonkers border
Agenda?
and the Van Cortlandt Lake, correct? Like the northern end of Van Cortlandt Lake?
They may not be doing that, but that we could be putting that in here. So let's figure out what they're charged to do precisely with the pond. And
Yeah.
then we can consider going north, Deb, and we'll come back to you, Camelia, with something solid for the 6 million.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank
just so
you,
that we can
Bob.
make sure to cover the wetland area.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, so now we move into expense. So those were big asks, essentially capital. And now we are moving into expense. I already changed the order and everything. Okay, let's see what was, okay, first was obviously direct T-beds, fund continual maintenance for operation efficiency and good housekeeping, blah, 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 blah. To me personally, this feels like it's part of the overall project. Of course, they will have daylight and then stop funding it. This is actually the one question I would have liked to ask. My obsession perennially, who picks the garbage? The garbage that the people are throwing will be throwing along this thing. Where are the garbage cans? Who is servicing them? How many times a day, a week?
This is parks.
In whose budget there is?
Parks.
This is parks. So you want me to take it out for now?
I mean, it's parks. I mean, I think Bob raises the point, it's a good point that somebody needs to do it. But I'll make sure it's on our list.
Yes. I really appreciate
Because
how
we don't have anything on
we
our,
trim things. I think this is very
I
important.
would say take out from EMS, 4 parks.
yeah, I'll put it on
Yeah,
my,
I mean, then no.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Bob and Rashida, you're in agreement? Yes.
Pardon me?
With this, to take out from ours and leave it for parks as lead.
Yeah, at least as it relates to Van Cortlandt. I mean, I was thinking about trash on the sidewalks near businesses, but that's another.
No, it's the T-beds part. Yes, Bob, fine with it or not?
We don't know if DEP is going to require staff for the daylighting stream. I can tell you that parks will not touch the water within Putnam Greenway. We may need DEP staff to maintain that water.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't sail away from it.
Oh, you're saying don't?
Yeah, because they're gonna take care of the parks. I guarantee they will stop at the water, and there's water there. It's DEP property. And it is a joint operation now and forever. They got married.
Yeah, but Rob, you know how sometimes they say, I think they even said it in the TAC presentation. They said right now, in the TAC presentation, in the Croton, when they presented what they were doing on the side by Jerome, and they said right now, this is a DAP project, but when it's completed as far as construction, it will become parks, and parks is in charge of maintenance. I guess what I'm saying is, I do not know the governance. You may be correct.
Here's what I'm gonna say. DEP is gonna walk away from the problem they created in parks at the filtration plant golf course. Let's not let them do it again. They're gonna have problems with daylighting. They're gonna need people on the staff. We can't let them walk away from the engineering they created and give it to parks, because parks will not touch it, although they're the lead.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep,
Everybody understand it's exactly what they're doing at the Croton Golf Course.
okay.
Which actually reminds me for a new thing is we should add the maintenance of the moat at the Croton Golf Course. I don't know,
Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
When?
that's a new one.
And then, okay, keep it. But, so Bob, I left it as keep, but parks is lead. I think it's fair. I mean, I don't know, actually, keep.
I'm telling you, if we don't tell them to maintain their own installation, they won't, and we've got to make them.
Is IC a member of the committee or just a visitor?
Who?
IC, Irish Rose.
No, he's a community member,
Okay.
not a community member, a regular.
You're just a member.
Attendant.
Visitor.
Yeah, okay.
You're asking for input.
Baseline NYC compost project funding to pre-COVID. They did this. I'm cutting this, cut straight, because the mayor just launched the plan and everything. Bob Fanusi, you want to say something on this?
No.
Okay, cool. ENS and
Wait, we don't know. Is that done? We have everything we want?
we announced it and everything, the full plan by borough, by year and everything. I think Bronx is kind of the third in line, full Bronx. I think it's 2024. They even, I'm very jealous. They started, DSNY started installing this cool orange compost, like they look like this for smart beans. They have an app. I have it on my phone. Of course, I don't have none anywhere near me or near where any of my work. They in the Bronx, they kind of focus on kind of central Fordham area has a lot, South Bronx has a lot. We have one, the closest to us is like on West Kingsbridge Road over there, kind of there by the Armory, one single one. I will take a picture and present it to you next time in meeting. They are very cool. They are orange and people can just essentially drop their compost in this new bin. It's very, very fancy.
You said that's part of the app, where to find them?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I'll show you actually.
Please don't cut number 2. Don't cut it. If you don't keep it, they'll get rid of it sooner or later. This has gone like a yo-yo for the past 10 years.
The mayor already announced it. I have press release and everything.
I'm just saying, even if we have it, keep asking for it.
You don't trust them?
If you don't ask for it, the next year they'll say, oh, they don't want it, we can cut it. This
Maybe-
has been a piñata for 10 years.
It's praise actually.
I've stayed up till 2 a.m.
And
Make
rephrase.
sure this got back on 2020 budget after they cut it.
Because honestly, I want those smart bins for compost in our district, which we have.
Do what you want, but
Keep
just
this
Baseline, maybe it's expand and promote, because I mean, I think what I'm
compost
seeing-
project. I'm sorry, Deb. Go.
I'm saying, what I'm seeing is that people are not really engaging with the compost project right now. Like, I'm seeing invitations and stuff go out, but not as much engagement. So like funding to make sure that that those wheels continue to change.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is the answer, which will be correct, since that's already funded. I have the press releases. There's a whole.
Fiscal year 25.
I
This is
know,
after
but
it's defunded next year. Is what Bob is saying. It's gonna get defunded next year.
No, See, like a month ago.
Yeah, so
Oh my God, you people don't believe in the administration.
Absolutely not.
Okay, sorry, okay.
And I think it has a new name. They even don't call it compost project anymore.
Yes, universal compost curbside is kind of the same.
that's got
Pick up.
Isn't it
It's just
actually,
what the minute knows.
isn't it actually organics pickup as opposed to? compost?
No, there's two different things. No, one is organics. I know that it's for businesses. Oh, actually.
No, but aren't you picking up organics and dumping it into a compost bin? So curbside organics pickup.
David's correct.
I will change the word. They will say this is all.
That's curbside organic, there you go.
Oh, yeah. You.
Oh, I have the wrong word.
Cut the wrong
Yeah,
I
you
see.
cut the wrong word, yeah. Curbside organics pickup. There you go.
Okay, good. I will say keep, because I know you want me to keep it. EMS, SNY, increased funding for manual litter patrol, particularly in the environmental justice designated areas of Kingsbridge Heights, Marble Hill in Bronx City. On this one, they said something like no funding and give us more information or
Yeah,
something.
we
to that
they said they needed more information.
So I will say keep.
Determine this.
Bob, Rashida? Keep for now, manually, never happened, by the way, but.
Don't touch Marble Hill.
Not touching Marble Hill except in a good way. ENS increase funding for maintenance contracts for JPR to pick up litter within DEP property. On this one, they also said something like, our crews are taking care of it and do a 311 or whatever.
So I'm gonna say, they have added, sanitation has added multiple bins to Jerome Park Reservoir. So there has been progress. in
What?
terms of-
But you want
Yeah,
more
we must have
progress
like, we must have like 6, 7 new bins.
Oh
We
my
never,
God.
yeah,
Deb,
You want
we,
deep.
I know,
You're happy
they're
for
brand
them?
new,
It's
they're
what
really
you're saying?
lovely. They're not, you know, they gotta empty them, but they're not, you know, they're not.
I'm shocked. Oh my God. Rashida, do you hear a thing? I don't.
No, I was gonna, that's why I was pointing
I
to.
hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Deb, make the call.
Oh, Rashida, what do you think, Rashida? I've noticed more bins. The bins have litter in them. There's still lots of litter, but there's bins.
Actually, we didn't hear what you just said before, but when you're referring, so the bins you're referring to are which bins?
Waste baskets.
Around the drum
Waste baskets.
waste baskets, litter baskets.
Oh, I know a couple, like, I don't remember exactly what point they did this, but I remember them putting like 2 over here by Perot in Sedgwick, but then I didn't, or maybe, yeah, I think 2 new ones, but I don't know when they collect the garbage.
I never see them do it.
I just,
But
actually, I saw it once. I saw a truck once. Literally once, but also because of the construction or what have you that they're doing, I'm not really sure how they plan to upkeep that area.
Then make a call.
for maintenance contracts for Joe Park, I mean, right now, things are kind of good.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think what I would say is, yeah, like, okay for now, but when we're looking at priorities,
Yes,
this
maybe
is
we
probably
decide
like a
to-
low priority than the other
Okay,
things.
good.
Yeah.
Guys, we're almost there, so let's end. ENS, DSNY, full restoration of all street cleaning and pickup service required for clean streets, particularly in business districts of Marble Hill, Kingsbridge, Heights, Python, Dyville, and Riverdale. I would say keep because by default.
Can I ask a question about that really quickly? What
Yeah.
is the protocol for, and maybe this is economics that other committee I'm actually on, but I noticed, for example, near Chipotle on 231st Street, that a couple of times a week, it's just that like food is dumped in front of the store. I don't know if it's that people are rummaging in the garbage, raccoons, I don't know, but I feel like it looks like they just throw the food in front of the establishment. And
But-
all like garbage in front of the establishment, and that happens too often.
Yeah, by law, but by law, all commercial establishments have to have a private contract with a carting company, no, what's it called? Yeah,
Yeah.
carting company, whatever, what a garbage company. And they have to have a sticker on their door saying which days the carter company comes to pick the garbage that the business officially dumps, right? That officially puts on the sidewalk to be picked up. And they can get violations if they don't have the sticker posted or if it doesn't get done. What you're describing to me, I don't know who are the people dumping it, right? So it's like, is it untrained staff? They don't have a contract in place. I don't know. So I would just do 311 on them all the time.
Okay.
And you're referring to the parking area inside, across from BJ's, right?
No, this is 231st Street near the 231st Street train. There's a new Chipotle, it's 190 West.
There's a new Chipotle. Chipotle is growing like
There's
crazy.
a new
Yeah.
Chipotle.
Yes, and it's
On
great.
231st, where?
Yeah, it's right on the street. You go up, it's the pizza store, some clothing store, Chipotle. Brand new. I mean, brand new. I bought some there.
Oh, across from our non-office.
So, yeah, exactly, yeah, it's the future lunch
Okay.
break. of,
The future
CBS.
office.
Okay, I'm moving to the next one, we're heading to my fund. ENS, DSNY, okay. Increase funding for quote unquote splinter groups to pick up litter on vacant lots and around building sites in CDA. I know somebody, obviously I'm objecting to the way it's phrased. They also commented something, what the hell are you talking about and what is this? I think my best guess here, but both of those you will know better, was that somebody referred to groups that are like friends of or volunteers for Bruce Park or like some, and this came across, and then also David removed the quote unquote. So now I was reading what splinter groups. I spent all my day in ER looking at splinter bones, and I'm reading like I don't know. So let's rephrase this in a nice scientific way that is understandable.
Might this be the Fed cap like things that that I know Andy Cohen paid for? And I don't,
It's or
yeah. Don't know.
Yes.
Camelia, I didn't want to speak out of turn. I'm laughing because this befuddled me too.
Okay.
And it was the word used by the sanitation rep. And it wasn't David. It's a good guess. I thought it was outside groups too, like PetCat. But that was his word. And if it doesn't make sense, let's use our own language. But I think the point there is that we need help with litter, vacant lots and building sites.
Shall I call it volunteer groups?
No, I
Or-
think we should just say that to increase funding for the removal of litter on vacant
Yeah,
lots.
that's good.
make it
That's
bigger
the way to
money.
do it. Yeah.
Because like you, the FERPer, I think it's called, you never got funding, did you?
What, Joe Park Friends and Neighbors? No.
Yeah.
No, but I,
So I.
No, that was the word splinter was used by
We
the
had to do on
agency
smaller
rep.
something that you applied for.
What, from DEP or DSNY?
Are elected.
Right, but not from DSNY,
No.
right, but that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, Parks has it set up so there's a public-private partnership that helps you. to
Correct.
make-
No, I understand, but there's nothing to ask for DSNY.
clean and easy, and nice, good. Next, increase funding for catch basin inspection, cleaning and maintenance in flood-prone areas along Broadway and Bailey Avenue and on roadways in Kingsbridge Heights and Van Cortlandt Ridge. This is probably my favorite ask here. I'm sorry to say I'm a very practical person. And I saw what happened in Morris Park. I got in July flooded of like 50 businesses and I made like a big thing on the news. And now every 2 weeks I see them in the truck. I take a picture of the truck. I tell them I love them and all is good. I'm sorry for the side note. Yeah, I will keep because nobody said something.
Well, in my actual experience, because at Palisade Capoc, we had that flooding and that problem. And I called 311 and they did finally get a truck to lift up the grate, scoop it out and all that.
Yeah.
But they do that every couple of years because it takes a very long time to fill up.
Do you want to end the area? What you're saying?
I don't, I'm not sure that they're not doing their job. I have a feeling that I don't think that citizens are doing a good enough job saying there's a problem, please come by. 311s.
Bofanos, thanks, Eddie. Bofanos, you tell me. No, unmute.
Bob, you're muted, yeah.
It's a very interesting point because David, you're right. When you make that 311 call, they actually get a sewer cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's kind of like their core business. They do it extremely well and they do it in a timely fashion. You may want to say maintain funding. We just want them to know how important it is to the community. I wouldn't remove it.
How about educating our neighbors?
I would just say maintain funding
Okay.
because it's kind of core infrastructure. You always want to keep your core infrastructure asked there.
Okay. And the final one that we have from previous year is DSNY fund e-cycling program to include community drop-off for buildings with less than 10 units in Bronx District 8. This is super ambitious, by the way, but maybe we can stay ambitious.
Well, I know that they have a tire drop off at the 215 garage. Is it really difficult for them to have a bin for e-waste?
Yeah, Bofanuzi?
This goes to the point that we should have prepared for next time. It's great always to invite a sanitation person to get the state of the program and anything that could help them because they want e-cycling. It's jobs for them and outcomes for them. We should really find out the state of this program and invite DSNY back for next time. Or if we don't have time, David, I don't know what the timetable is, I don't remember, but get email responses back because this is really important. Maybe they're expanding it to buildings with 10 less, we don't know. But e-waste is one of the biggest sources of garbage right now, recyclable garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really important. I think it came up yesterday.
Sorry.
It came up yesterday at the public comment.
You want to add something?
Well, no, he was just talking about timing. I would encourage you to email this to all your committee members, have them comment, edit, reorder, whatever. Next month, I encourage you to create a first pass of your order. And then in April, vote on it.
Yeah, and in addition to what he said, I will also add under each and every one of them in like a different color or whatever, the actual copy paste from the Excel sheet for you to see the responses when we look at this a second time. Final question, what Deb said before, do you have new ideas on the expense budget request? New ideas?
Yeah, we wanted to add the repair and maintenance of the moat at the filtration plant.
A new idea one.
Good housekeeping of the boat.
Repair.
Well, I guess it's maintained.
I was trying to say at that meeting.
Maintenance of the moat at the filtration,
Driving range.
the driving range of the filtration plant.
Yeah.
MOAT, yeah.
At the
Driving range. At the filtration plant.
Croton, yeah? Okay.
Is that what it's called? It's not called, referred to as Marshall at all?
It's the Marshall, it's gonna be the Marshall Golf Range.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
other ideas, or additional to this? We could be good with this for now and revisit next time. I'm just wanting to close this share screen on this table. Which I'm closing.
I just wanted to make, well, no, you can do it. I just wanted to say that, you know, if you use the driving range and for some reason you make a bad swing and your ball doesn't go beyond the moat, I think you should be required to jump in and pull it out.
Yeah, they should have a little tool.
So, dear members, thank you all. We did like step one. I will add the information from Excel and circulate prior to next meeting. With big thanks to David for being here and giving us his input. I'm saving this, number one. Okay, good.
So one thing potentially I wanted to just bring up is the salt pile in McWillan Park. The cover of it is
Broken, I think.
is broken. It's in very poor condition.
What pile?
The
Salt.
Salt, gotcha.
I think that is sanitation.
But didn't we raise it with them when did they come in September or October and they said, no, we are working on it or something?
So I don't know, I never got a response from them. They were working, they sent an email. They sent an email saying we'll look into it.
It's just like a separate side item.
I think it's probably gonna end up being an expense item unless they fix it out of operating, but I don't know. And maybe they should just.
What do you think? Should I end it or it's too specific, too punctual? Both handles it, please.
You should do a little research. The person I spoke to was Joan Byrne. And she gave us some background on that, but there's definite need for follow-up and some background.
And do we have any concern about that since it's so close to the kind of the wetlands, I mean, it's like a little bit down, like it's got some distance from like the Tibbetts wetlands from the kind of the core of the lake, but it's still within the park.
It's by the stables.
Yeah, it's just right beside the stables.
Yeah.
So you're kind of nearish the northwest part. I don't know where the slope is in terms of the rain and
Slope on Marshall Avenue and Broadway.
Okay. Okay, I will leave it as for future follow-up. I am closing this, I'm saving again this document and I'm stopping share. I'm moving into all business, new business, and very much toward the adjournment. All business, please, anyone? No. New business. I just want to re-announce again the February 24th speak up again back in person at Lehman College. Be there. It's super interesting. Yeah. I used to go every year, and there's a lot of environmental organizations, nice goodie bags, etc., etc. but good information. And they will speak about greenways and capping the crude Bronx, which is a project that I love that we have nothing to do with, but it's kind of very inspiring to see how something can be born out of nothing, even if it costs billions of dollars.
And they have exhibits on resiliency.
Yeah,
It's definitely worth your time, I believe.
Children, small programs, large programs, it's a very good educational opportunity. Any other new business from anyone? Great. Kindly someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much, Rashida. Thank you for seconding. We thank you so very much. I know this was kind of tedious, but it's one of those things that we absolutely have to do. It's actual business. And to be continued.
And you should talk to Pablo about sound tomorrow.
It's the first time that it's happening. Frankly, I suspect because we have too many overlapping speakers right here, because this is who we are and how we are. But it never happened before.
Well, a good question would be, was it consistently bad?
Sound.
The sound that you could hear of us, was it consistently bad?
Well, I think you raised your hand, so I think Bob Panuzzi raised his hand.
Please go, Rashida.
It wasn't, I think there were just moments, and then it was, I don't know if it was when people spoke simultaneously or if anyone moved. That's when it sounded like you were underground. I'm not sure if it's a speaker thing.
Well, largely, Camelia spoke alone. Occasionally, we would interject. But when she was speaking alone, could you hear her clearly? No. Okay.
Okay. Mind you though, David, we did so far 5 meetings. It never happened before.
Can you just maybe try to turn that off with just this? Or was this on before?
I don't know. No, in previous times, no.
Yeah, no. So
Maybe
turn it off for a minute, because you're still on the other,
I know.
just to see if it makes a difference while we've got folks we can test.
How about now? Does it feel like better or different in any way?
Can you hear us consistently?
Yeah.
Oh, so
There may be a microphone in the computer that's creating cross currents with the microphone in the camera on top of the screen.
yeah.
So that's good to know.
Good to know,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah,
yeah.
good. Okay, good. Thank you. You wanna add something or?
No. Let's wait and test it.
Yeah,
Well, thanks, everybody. I think we just solved our tech problem.
thank you so much.
Good night,
See you
everybody.
next time.
Good to see
Bye,
you.
Rashida.
Oh, see, good night.
Okay, good night.